4 million. That is not a typo. That's how many views podcaster Edward Sturm pulled from a single clip he repurposed from one of his recordings. So in this explainer, we're going to show you his exact step-by-step process so you can go find the hidden gold that's probably sitting in your own content right now. All right, so what was this magic clip even about? Well, Sturm had recorded a piece about Apple's super meticulous, super expensive packaging strategy. You know what I'm talking about. So he took that audio, but he didn't just clip it. He pulled out the most powerful lines and layered them over this really satisfying ASMR-style footage of Apple unboxings. The result? An incredibly compelling 1-minute video.
And that right there brings us to the first, and honestly, the most crucial principle behind his success. You've got to find your hidden hook. This is where almost everyone gets it wrong, but it is the absolute key to going viral.
Okay, this is so important. The biggest mistake creators make: they edit chronologically. They just take their recording and chop out a 1-minute piece exactly as it happened. But Sturm says that just buries the good stuff. The secret is to hunt through your entire recording for that one single most compelling line. That's your hook. And then you build the whole video around that, even if that line came at the very, very end of your original talk.
So let's really look at Sturm's hook. Apple spent millions designing boxes you'll throw away. Why does that work so well? Well, first, it's a super familiar subject. Everybody knows Apple. Second, it's got that negative framing, which just naturally grabs our attention. And finally, it makes you go, wait, why would they do that? It sparks your curiosity and promises an answer. And look, Sturm isn't the only one who gets this. There's this lawyer, Jefferson Fisher, who is an absolute master of this technique. He gets millions of views, and his videos are just him talking to the camera. His hooks, like this one about grief, are almost always framed negatively because they tap into a real problem that people are actually searching for answers to. It makes the content instantly relevant. Okay, so you get it. The hook is everything. But how do you actually find these things and arrange them into something powerful? Well, the secret is to stop thinking like a video editor and start thinking like a copywriter. Sturm's workflow is, honestly, a total game changer. And it's all about the transcript first. He uses a tool to get a full text version of his entire recording. Then, and this is the key part, before he even thinks about video clips, he edits the text. He hunts for that hook, then he copies and pastes other great lines to build a really tight, punchy script. The visuals, they come dead last. And you know what's so cool about this method? The main skill here isn't fancy video editing, it's writing. Sturm even suggests you could literally hire a freelance copywriter for cheap, give them your transcripts, and just have them find and assemble these viral scripts for you. How wild is that?
All right, I know what some of you are thinking. You're the perfectionists, you want the high-end gear. But this next part might be a tough pill to swallow, because you really don't need $1 million studio. In fact, sometimes, simple is way more powerful.
Just take a look at Sturm's video about the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. He shot the whole thing on the selfie camera of an old iPhone 8. He edited it right inside the TikTok app. His own words to describe it: the quality looked like a potato. I was shooting on a potato. So that potato quality video? It got over 10 million views. Let that sink in. Why? Because the topic was urgent, it was super relevant, and the information was interesting. This is all the proof you need that your message and your hook are so much more important than your production value.
Okay, so we've established the viral clip strategy is incredibly powerful. But, it's not the only tool you should have in your toolbox. Let's zoom out a little and see how this fits into a bigger repurposing strategy, especially if going viral isn't your only endgame.
I mean, maybe going viral isn't your #1 priority. Maybe you're more focused on growing your email list or boosting your SEO or really building a solid community. Well, the great news is that original recording of yours, it's a goldmine for all of those things too. When you pull in advice from other pros like Stephanie Gass, you start to see the possibilities are basically endless. For example, you could take that same transcript we talked about and turn it into a super detailed, SEO-rich blog post. That's going to capture search traffic for months, maybe even years. Or you could pull out the most powerful quotes and make them into those nice, shareable graphics for social media. The whole idea is to meet your audience where they already are, but on all these different platforms. Now I know, seeing a giant list like that can be a little overwhelming. It feels like a ton of extra work. So how do you actually start applying these lessons without completely burning out? The key is to start small and be really strategic about it. And this is maybe the single most important piece of advice in this whole explainer, and it comes from Stephanie Gass. She says, I don't actually recommend you do all 15 of these things. Instead, she says, I want you to pick 2 things off the list. Just 2. Pick 2 methods that really line up with your goals and just focus on those and only those for the next 30 days.
This strategy is called habit stacking. It's so smart. Once you've really mastered your first 2 repurposing methods and they just become a normal part of your workflow, you don't even have to think about them. Then you can add a 3rd one. This is how you build a powerful, sustainable content machine that doesn't drive you crazy.
So that really just leaves one final question for you. You've already done the hard part, right? You've created the content. Now it's time to go back and look at it with fresh eyes. What incredible, attention-grabbing, potentially viral clip is already just sitting there, hiding in your archive, waiting for you to find it?